AI is a topic people talk about sometimes. It's something that's revolved around my head for the past few years, as its use rises and its consequence all of us. And because my channel revolves around human creation, human experience, I feel that it is something built to deprive us of those experiences, those creations, conversations, art, music, writing, questions, answers, your very soul. What if it all belonged to another? Not in the way of it's making it harder for real artists to exist because it steals from them, although that is a very real thing. Many people have already articulated that point. But in the way of disreality, what we are experiencing, we question if it is truly real. And if it isn't real, if it's something made by a machine, does it matter if the experience of what that machine made was fun? I had this very surreal experience of seeing my own mother gush over a generated video and pointing out to her that it clearly wasn't made by a human, or even articulated like a person. Its words a mix of real and fake, its face is distorted and changing, or talking to a patient I was taking care of at my job, and gently pointing out that the video they thought that was so cute of a little baby crawling around wasn't real. And they didn't even realize it, despite it being a very blatant ad for an AI generator. They just accepted what was on their feed. If an AI-generated meme makes you laugh, makes you invested, if that AI writing an essay for you means that you have more free time to scroll on your phone, does it matter? A phone filled with generated images and videos and writings, not of anyone else's, and yet an amalgamation of all the things you hold dear, over and over and over. I think a little bit. It matters a little bit. It's really made me put my hackles up whenever I scroll through videos, because some part of me wonders, in the back of my head, if this person's experience was something that they actually experienced, or if this person is even a person at all. It's a catfish of life, a mask of mirrored imagery, absent of your misery, if you will. This is a niche reference. It's a good song. And while AI has made things technically easier to do, I want to argue that it takes away from the long-term benefits of doing something that is hard in the moment but rewarding in the end. I graduated high school during COVID times and worked through college as AI rose to relevance. During college, when we would have countless discussion boards, clinical hours, and tests galore, it was interesting because I saw more and more of my peers, online, in videos, in person, advocating for using artificial intelligence, if only to save them time, having AI research their topics for them, write their essays, and critically think on their behalf, mostly because not having to do schoolwork is inherently appealing, and also because free time is rare in doing college. And it was interesting. Because if I don't have to write my scientific discussion about how bias in medicine harms people, don't have to actually think about what a study on unsafe staffing ratios in hospitals, increasing patient deaths means, then I get more free time. Sure, I don't absorb the information from an article if an AI summarizes it, and sure, the information I generated may be something that it made up, or is inaccurate, or may blow up on social media as the hot new study to rave about, shape other people's opinions from a vat of opinions that aren't even my own. But a B- for doing nothing is more than I could ask for. I had interviewed school counselors for a project and uncovered that parents were also a interesting part in this. Some parents were even using AI to argue that their kid didn't need to redo classes or do extra coursework because the generator told them that actually their credit hours were 100% met. They trusted a machine over the actual counselors who very much knew that their kids' credit hours ain't gonna let them graduate, dude. Woof. I think you can see some of the downsides, especially as misinformation spreads. Even so, the reason for its popularity is partly because of productivity creep, in my eyes. More and more people are forced to be producing more and more to keep their jobs, to work overtime, be available all the time, to bear witness to their peers or people younger than them succeeding in countless ways, and to still be human. I've had my own guilt about this whenever I see artists who also work full-time in other jobs like I do, when I see that they have made entire worlds, illustrations, animations, comics of their characters in the span of a few months, and I have dawdled, sitting in my own inadequacy, looking at the countless lives I can never live. But I can. You see, there's this weird little thing that started to happen in every single platform I use. If I just click on this little sparkle, it can make up my grocery list for a healthy diet. It can answer my medical questions I can't afford to go to the doctor to because my medical insurance ran out. It can draw the art that I can only imagine making. I don't have to think because it will think for me. Any question I type into a search bar will be answered on the front page, and I will accept it because how could a machine ever be biased? Its dataset poisoned. Comments someone made I can answer without hesitation, and if it hallucinates in my replies that I've watched a show or played a game when I haven't, well, it knows better than me. Maybe I should watch that show. Maybe I should play that game. I talked to my dead grandfather last night, and he apologized for when he loomed over me, his corpse a pile of ashes now manifest into reality once more in just a single text. I fed all my texts from an old ex to a character generator and asked to get back together with them, asked about how they never left, convinced them that they were the problem, and they agreed. There was nothing wrong with me. I put a photo of a girl I like on Twitter into its generator and told them to generate her in lingerie, in transparent swimwear, and a photo with me. There is nothing wrong. I have done nothing wrong. Instead of actually fixing any root problems, systemic or personal, AI acts like a shoddy replacement to all, a quote-unquote good enough solution. You can generate a quote-unquote perfect apology to your friend in weird-ass professional lingo instead of feeling the guilt and writing about your own honest thoughts. You can reply perfectly to comments without having to actually think about them. You can create the story you've always wanted to without ever worrying if it flops, because you can just make another one in seconds. You can date the girl of your dreams without ever introspecting and realizing that your views might be precisely why she wants nothing to do with you. Because in using AI, you prove that you want nothing to do with yourself. And if you do find yourself reliant on it, you may have to learn that you are human. You are not going to be good at everything you do, nor are you expected to, no matter what social media or big ol' moneymaker top 5 billionaire magazine Pro Central says. AI fosters a sense that everything can and always will go your way, without you having to put in any effort or advocating for a better world. I have always wanted to make a game, visual novel, a type of choice-based story with pretty colors, but I never really chose to because I thought it was too much effort, too intimidating, that it's hard for me to learn something new. And in the first few fumblings, as someone who hasn't touched code in a decade does, I felt it was impossible, that even with the countless guides from real human beings, that I am not good enough to learn something on my own. And it's this inadequacy that AI feeds off of, because I started to see countless ads about using it to build your own code. And in the countless hours I spent trying and failing to even have my game work, to show a single line of text to make a character sprite appear, I thought of that builder, how it could accomplish this task quicker. But would it be what I want? The music that I made in high school and that I meticulously looped for certain scenes, the variant cutscenes I hid across my short little story, branching and intertwining paths that I mapped and remapped again. I was frustrated, for sure, but I was also in awe that this, something that I convinced myself was a far-off dream, was actually achievable in less than a few days. And it made me appreciate the games that I already adored, how they used the exact same programs and handmade something spectacular. And I, in my little slice of the world, have contributed to a long, long history of sharing stories you made up with the people you love. It's imperfect, and the line art is scratchy, and the code is a mess, and there is little bits of me in every facet of this. And that is where there is joy, that I have tried something. But that's also where there is hurt. Making perfect posts where your art is unmistakable as one of the greats without actually understanding that being great was never the point. The point is to feel. Sometimes these tentative, frustrating moments are meant to tell you something. Maybe you don't actually want this degree. Maybe you don't actually want to be friends with this person anymore. Maybe you want to make this story a reality more than you thought, and you are nervous that if it fails, it is a reflection of you. We are so scared of facing these negative emotions that we don't realize that they are simply precursors of what it means to thrive. I think my life would be unhappier if I simply resigned myself from ever participating in it. I say that because I know it. The long scroll of content pumped out to feed not people, but a machine that decides what is good enough for you to see. A third party to my friendships, my hobbies, and even my own thoughts. But it is easier to offload. After all, haven't you achieved more? So much more than any other human ever could. And yet, when I think about what I love in life, what comes to mind is the stretches of drawing for hours on end with a friend, basking in the warmth of a sunny day, or rewatching the same scene over and over and doubling over in laughter. I think about when I know that I don't want to do a task, I reach out for community, and community helps me by doing it with me or doing it instead of me. They help me because they love that thing. They love that topic. They love that goal. Cooking, they've spent years mastering. DIYs, they've absolutely failed at countless times over. Research, they can't help but geek out over. And they have shared that love with me in those moments. Have I achieved? Maybe not in the eyes of the great machine, but in my heart, I think that I hold more joy in this reality than I ever will in its countless lifetimes, because it will never understand the warmth of humanity in the way that you do. This was made by a human in all its inhuman imperfections. Thank you.